Over the past few days, there has been a new transfer rumour circulating, Nene Dorgeles to Manchester United, and it is actually from a credible source, Fabrizio Romano, suggesting that we could pursue a transfer for him either now, in January, or in the summer. But there is one small issue: no one knows anything about him. So let me tell you, he's 22 years old, he's a Mali international, currently playing for Salzburg. Oh, you guys wanted to know how good he is at football? Well, I've got that covered as well. If you guys quickly subscribe to the channel first, please. The growth's been amazing recently. Let's keep it up. Then we'll get into the video. So the first big question surrounding Nene Dorgeles is, what is his best position? Where does he play? Well, he is very much a winger, and if you look at his heat map in the league this season, it would suggest he is a left winger, in fact, and everyone seems to believe that. Everyone is circulating the news that he is a left winger. But if you actually take a closer look at his heat map, particularly in the Champions League, you will also see that he has played a lot of football on the right-hand side. Dorgeles is very versatile. He can play on both sides of the pitch. One of the reasons why he is so capable of playing on both sides is because he is actually quite a two-footed player. Everyone labels him as right-footed. However, if you watch a clip like this, it doesn't appear that way. I do think he is right-footed, but you will see in these moments as well, he uses his left foot a lot. He really relies on it, is comfortable using it. You can see the touch with the outside of the boot, the next touch here, and the next touch here. He is more than comfortable taking the ball with his left foot, so I would very much describe him as a two-footed player. Now, as well as being two-footed, Dorgeles is also athletically gifted as well. Incredibly quick, fast, the acceleration is absolutely brilliant. And how do I know this? Well, I've watched all of his Champions League games from this season. That's actually why this video's gone out a bit later than everyone else's. I wanted to get to know him, but he's really quick. Really quick, and he loves to use this tool, although I think he should do it on a more regular basis. When he does use it, he's difficult to stop. He loves this moment where, let's move Mazraoui out of the way for a moment, where he might be out wide and he's going to receive the ball. And what he does is he loves to get the ball still. He stops the ball. And the reason he does this, we were talking about it the other day, is to draw the opposition closer. What he then does is he waits, and then he's going to quickly change direction, take a big touch, knock the ball past, and just burst past people and absolutely burn them. The acceleration over the first few yards is incredible. You can see it in moments like this. He's received the ball, taken the first touch with his right foot on this occasion, again showing that he's two-footed. But what he does is he sort of waits in these moments, and he wants to square up the defender. He wants to be 1v1, and he's waiting for this defender to be flat-footed. And you can see it here. If you look at the timer in the top left, you will notice the second doesn't actually even tick over. That's how quick he is changing speed. So he goes from this position where he's still in stationary, and then a split second later, he's going to go into acceleration mode. And quite frankly, for a defender, you can't react that quick. You physically can't. He's going to knock the ball past you. So he's proactive, he's ahead of the game compared to the defender, but also actually really quick in these positions. Again, you can see it in a moment like this, receives the ball out wide, first touch with his right foot, letting the ball come across his body to target the defender. He wants to get face on with the defender, he wants to kind of isolate them in these moments. And again, he's going to kind of square it up, wait for the defender to be set, and then again, the acceleration. This time he throws in a dummy first, he kind of drops to the left, and then goes to the right, and again, he's just a little bit too quick, really. He burns past in these moments, and yeah, in terms of pure speed, he looks electric. Now, as well as being able to blitz a defender down the outside, Dorgeles is also able to move inside the pitch as well. Again, he's a two-footed player, so he can go both ways. Now, for now, we are going to continue focusing on the right-hand side, simply because this is where I've seen him the most from the footage that I've watched. I saw him a lot on the right-hand side of the pitch. And because he's two-footed, he can go both ways. He can go up the line, down the outside onto his right foot, or he can spin inside, I should say, because he's comfortable with his left foot too. And I think this is something that Ruben Amorim would value in a wing-back. We know that he likes to use weak-footed wing-backs who are able to spin inside the pitch. I think Dorgeles offers you this from both sides. He is quite comfortable moving inside. And again, in terms of the idea of joining Manchester United, we know that currently we lack a bit of central progression. We get stuck out wide in moments. Having a player that can actually spin inside the pitch and progress the ball in those areas could potentially be quite valuable to us. And it's in moments like this where I think he looks really good. This particular position looks like a wing-back. As he receives the ball here, he is the widest player on the right-hand side. The defender knows he likes to go down the outside of the pitch, but in this moment, he's just going to switch it up a little bit. He's going to change things. He drops a shoulder and moves inside and spins into that area. Again, he's got the agility, the low center of gravity, but also the acceleration to move away from the defender before then linking the play inside the pitch. Now, it's in those moments we saw here that I have a few more questions over him. You know, the first bit of work is good. Is the pass consistent? not so much, but there's something there. There is a spark there. Again, in a moment like this, on the right-hand side from the throw-in, he's going to shape his body up quite square on initially, which invites the defender in. But then he just opens his body up so nicely in this moment here. The way that he just opens his body up, lets the ball roll past him, and then gets on the turn and gets on the spin. And now he's in more of an inside forward position, which is where perhaps we can start to look at why Manchester United might want him. Because he's a player in moments who can go down the outside, he can spin inside, and also move into the half spaces. That is sort of what United need. Now, I guess if we're talking about Dorgeles potentially being an inside forward for Manchester United, the question isn't just can he spin into these positions and arrive into these positions, but can he actually start there? Can he take the ball there in those moments? It's inconsistent for me. Firstly, I probably haven't seen enough footage to come to a true conclusion. I don't want to sell you guys a dream when I don't know too much about him. I would say in moments he protects the ball well, he uses his body well, so as he's receiving the ball, he'll get himself between the ball and the opposition, which very often allows you to keep possession. The question would be, can he do this in the intensity of the Premier League? I don't know, it's a big upgrade in the league, in the Premier League. It's so tough to adapt to the pace, the tempo, the intensity, how tight defenders are in this division. It would be difficult for him to adjust. On the right hand side, I haven't seen him in this position very often at all. On the left hand side, I've seen it a little bit more. A player who can drop the shoulder and can move into good areas in situations like this. Here, he is starting narrow. He is starting in this position. This is very much an inside forward position as he receives the ball. And it's good work. Again, we saw earlier, he can get on the half turn, letting the ball roll across his body. He's got the agility to turn, but also the awareness of the space around him, allowing him to move into these moments here. Again, this is an inside forward space, and eventually he's able to get a pass off. It's good play. Again, in a moment like this, in the same match, this feels like an inside forward position. We often see Bruno Fernandes, Garnacho, Ahmad in these positions at Manchester United. Can he play in there? Well, if he does this more regularly, yes, again, getting his body between the ball and the opposition, it's difficult to tackle him. Then he's got the common sense to keep the ball, not rush it forward, but try and retain possession, spinning out wide and then eventually moving the ball outside. So for these reasons, everything we've looked at so far, I think you can see why perhaps Manchester United are looking at him. Physically very quick, just rapid to be honest, he's ridiculously quick, which is something that United need more of. Players that can run and attack space. We lack it, particularly if we do lose Marcus Rashford and Garnacho. Technically, I see glimpses, I see moments. He is 22 years old now, but he is still very raw. In moments, his first touch is really nice. He's able to take a player on. I think as he moves towards the final third, there's some nice combination work, particularly when he's working in triangles. So you might have a fullback or a wing-back overlapping him. I think in these moments, there's some good combo play with the 1-2s. In other moments, it's very raw, very erratic, and it lacks control. You will see loose touches. You will see passes which are just so under hit when they shouldn't be. And again, moving to the Premier League would be a big jump for him. But I think above anything else, what my main question for him would be is actually, is he going to give us enough in the final third of the pitch? I actually quite like him in the middle phase. I think, particularly perhaps as a wing-back on either side, I think there's something there. There is the intelligence to keep the ball. There's the two-way threat down the line or inside the pitch. I quite like it. But particularly if you're going to be an inside forward, or even a wing-back to be fair, you've got to offer something in the final third. And at the moment, he's nowhere near consistent enough. In these tight spaces, in these big moments, he's not really doing enough for me. I don't particularly like him in these areas. He's got a couple of nice assists and a couple of good goals with runs off the ball. And again, that pace is always going to make him a threat. Any footballer who is quick can challenge and ask questions of a backline. But in the Premier League in particular, it's about delivering in the finer spaces where it's a little bit tighter, it's a little bit tougher to operate. I have questions there over his decision making in the final third, his temperament, but also actually his technique. In terms of as a ball striker, what you will often see from him, if you go back and watch some clips or some highlights, you'll often see moments where he's striking the ball, but the ball's actually too far away from his body. Typically for good ball striking technique, you want the ball to be underneath you, or certainly close to you. Not quite underneath, close to you, so you can strike through it, generate the power using your whole body. When the ball starts being a bit further away and you're stretching at the shot a little bit more, You see really inconsistent ball striking, and I think we see that with this young man. In moments he strikes the ball well and the finishing is good. In other moments they lack any power and they're quite easily dealt with by the goalkeeper. So it's a really, really interesting prospect. In terms of like why do Manchester United want him, I completely get it. Again, young, quick, athletic, great. Technical, good on the ball, a decent dribbler, some really good retention passing. He's actually averaged an 84% pass completion rate in the league this season. That's really good retention play for a winger. We very rarely see a winger with those numbers, which is a really good thing. It's great for him. But on the other side of that, is it because he doesn't take enough chances in the final third? He isn't expressive enough. He doesn't take his man on regularly enough. And actually, he doesn't have that eye for a pass to try something more audacious. It's a difficult one. I borderline think he could perhaps be better as an attacking wingback than what he would be as an inside forward, but then we'd have to question his defensive instincts. I think he's decent at pressing, he presses with intensity, but in terms of tracking back, I think he's lacking a little bit. In the inside forward position, the defensive work is mastered a little bit. It would allow him to be aggressive towards the ball, which he does well. Playing for a Red Bull club, most players do that. But does he score enough goals? I'm really not sure on this one. There's a nice profile there, and there's definitely a footballer in there. I don't know that he's ready for Manchester United. I get the feeling that if he was to sign, he would perhaps need a loan move elsewhere, which United, we could do that. This might be a sign of us changing our strategy in the market. Good player, not the finished article by any means. Raw, would give you some real moments of excitement on the dribble, some flair, which is really fun to watch, but would also be frustrating. He would, of course, also take time to adapt. The Premier League is very different to anything he's ever experienced. So it would be difficult, but if Manchester United can do it for a low fee, it is low risk, and you can get a profit on them in the future, or get yourself a really good player. So I think this is one to keep an eye on. I think this is a bit of business that Manchester United might do, just because it's quite easy to get done, and there is clearly something there to work with, and Ruben Amorim does have a good track record for developing players. For now, those are my final thoughts on him. Before I can go any more in depth, I need to watch more of him. Again, I don't want to talk too much without watching more, because if not, I'm kind of selling you guys a dream a little bit. So I'm going to go watch more of him. I recommend that you guys do the same. If you have seen anything of him, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Is he the sort of player that we need? Is he just too raw, too sloppy on the ball? Or is there a real hot prospect there waiting to explode? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But apart from that, we are finished for today. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.